Dreams are somewhat like a broken mirror held up to the soul. They show us who we are in imperfect fragments by representing the familiar in unfamiliar ways. They are an exercise in confronting the raw, more untamed inner self. The main series Klonoa games may look like frivolous adventures on the surface, but dig deeper and you'll find some oddities. Especially so with Klonoa 2, Lunatea's Veil. Everything about this game possesses a strangeness to it that's difficult to explain. The funky character designs and animations, the 2.5D levels that bend and twist back on themselves. Throughout the game, a nameless something calls out for our help as we try to save this world from a threat which not even the wisest beings fully understand. Even the subtitle of this game is portentous. Just what is Lunatea's Veil, and what does it keep hidden? The game's soundtrack is no exception to this. Many stages have ethereal, experimental themes that convey mystery, wonder, and sometimes unease. Other tracks are more raw and intense, bordering on frantic. But beyond general wackiness, there's something deeper to the soundtrack I wanted to talk about. The music for Klonoa 2 often points back to the game's story and larger themes in a way that not many other game soundtracks do. To see what I mean, let's dive into some analysis. Starting off with a banger, the music for the Kingdom of Joilant, a theme park of never-ending joy that serves as one of the game's early stages. I can't help but smile. This theme is so goofy and fun. We start off in D major with this nice melody and a 4/4 beat that throws us right into this larger-than-life carnival world. After repeating the original melody with a little bit of variation, have a key change in E major and a new melody, which keep things moving right along. Time for a waltz, I guess. I mean, it's pretty jarring and unusual for a piece like this, but honestly, I kind of love it. It gives you a chance to take in the detailed backgrounds and focus on more tricky platforming. After a lengthy bridge, we finally come back to one of our original themes. Well, now it's mixed with the waltz theme. Okay, oh hey, we've changed key again. I can't believe how all over the place this piece is with these changes in time signature, tempo, and key, and the intermixing of melodies from different sections. There are even these fake out endings where it feels like the piece is almost over, but it just keeps on going. The music is beyond over the top. It's almost excessive. It makes you wonder if the people visiting this park are perhaps enjoying themselves too much. I mean, the idea of endless joy sounds great on paper, but don't you think it would get tiring after a while? So if Joilant is the kingdom of joy, what about the other kingdoms? There are 3 others in the game, each of which are associated with their own specific feeling. Lalakusha for tranquility, Volk City for discord, and Mira Mira for indecision. The next piece we'll talk about is the level theme for Ishras Ark, an enormous vessel which once sailed between the 4 kingdoms, but has since fallen into disuse. The music for the stage is set in triplet time signature and starts off in the key of E major, but as we'll see, key signatures aren't going to matter all that much. Let's take a listen. Immediately, there's a lot going on here. And taking the harp, piano, and this weird synth, these measures outline an E major 9 chord. Although this chord is held throughout the first 8 measures, different instruments target different notes and even add other notes not in the chord for a more interesting harmony. For example, this recurring C sharp and F sharp on the ascending harp adds a lot of richness. Also notable is how many unique rhythms there are. The piano plays a steady melody, while the harp, glock, and synth accentuates it with these runs that feel like the rise and fall of the sea below. Not to mention this catchy beat on percussion that gives us that forward momentum we want in a platformer level like this. After these introductory 8 measures, a new synth signals the start of our next section, where the real meat of this piece is. These measures describe a colorful harmony of descending fifth intervals, starting at an A major 7th chord to D minor 7th, G major, C major, and ending on an A flat major 7th chord. Again, we see how different instruments just add a little bit to the tonality of each measure. For example, in measure 12, the arpeggio on the harp gives us the A flat, C, and E flat of our chord, while the saw synth holds the 7th, the G. And this C on the piano is so low it subverts the major tonality, making this almost sound like a C minor chord. This unique progression continues to grow more complex, though like we saw in the first section of the piece, we tend to center around a single tonality. In this measure, we have enough notes to make an 11th chord. Or, interpreted differently, this could be a D minor chord followed by an E flat major one. And then these 2 measures are a mess, in a good way. This could be an E flat major, or a G minor, or a C major chord. And the last measure is certainly a G chord, but instead of the third, the B, the harp plays an A and a C, giving it a very different sound that's neither major nor minor. It's difficult to describe how this ambiguous harmony makes one feel. To one listener, this may inspire curiosity and wonder. To another, it may remind them of things abandoned or once forgotten. It's as if all of these separate instruments are hinting at something greater, something old and nearly lost, but still heard in faint echoes. Though there are a lot of details given about the Ark, a lot of questions remain unanswered. In fact, like a dream which grows in strangeness, the mystery ever deepens. Throughout the game, we've been collecting these elements from each kingdom, each of which is again associated with that kingdom's specific emotion. But before we can bring them all together, our sky pirate nemesis, Leorina, with designs of her own, steals them from us. The final element is revealed to be tucked away in a hidden 5th kingdom, and it's the emotion of sorrow. In a way that's difficult to describe with words, Ishras Ark is transformed, and the new vehicle becomes a vessel to bridge the last kingdom. We hitch a ride, seeing if we can stop the new Ark before it reaches the forbidden kingdom of sorrow. Alright, so we're back at the Ark, and we've got a new theme, and it's very different. There's this intense squeaking synth, a deep growling piano, cymbals and gongs, aggressive congas. The tempo is way sped up and there's not a hint of the existing theme here. At least to begin with. Several measures in, we hear a pan flute playing a familiar melody. I'm not sure why, but hearing that original melody in this twisted, strange place feels so unsettling. The wonder and mystery of the original level has been replaced by fear, sorrow, and anxiety. And the visuals don't disappoint either. This awakened Ark seems alive with flesh-toned backgrounds and veins of light. These engine rooms were a curiosity before, but now they feel like something alien and menacing. Over the next 8 measures, strings and trumpets back a harmony that only heightens the drama of this piece. I gave up trying to transcribe these last few chords. The music here is nearly inscrutable. This is one of the most intense pieces of video game music I've heard. I mean, just listen to these bars at the end of the piece. Waiting for us at the end of the game is the last musical piece I wanted to share. When we make it off the Ark, we find ourselves in the Kingdom of Sorrow. In each previous kingdom, we'd come across a variety of folk, like the joyful denizens of Joilant or the forgetful Mira Mira. Here, though, there is no race of people. There's no one at all. The architecture here is stretched and distorted almost beyond recognition, though contrasting this are these empty houses and hanging masks, these tidbits of humanity. As we enter the stage, the main theme begins, and it's different than anything we've heard thus far. This gentle yet sorrowful synth outlines a simple melody, while this growling noise broods beneath it. The melody's ascending first half and descending second half perfectly captures the somber mood we expect for this level. We raise our spirits only to fall further than from where we started. A harmony comes in on this weird mix between a piano and organ, and probably to no one's surprise, it is a downer. All minor seventh chords, all repeated in this simple, unexciting rhythm. This repetition feels not only mournful, but oppressive. I don't mean this in a bad way when I say that it's almost unpleasant to listen to this. It's literally bumming me out, and that's exactly what the composers wanted. Alright, so far this piece feels fairly predictable. If I had to wager a guess, I'd say the next few measures will repeat our melancholy harmony. Psych, you forgot that this is Klonoa. Screw being predictable, why don't we play a snippet from a piece earlier in the game, but backwards. The composers sprinkle little interludes like this throughout the piece. I wouldn't go as far to say it's unsettling, but it is really odd. Here's another one. You know what? That comes from the first game, the theme when Klonoa talks with their grandpa. And this other one, albeit heavily distorted, is the theme of his old friend, Hugh Pow. In the events of the first game, Klonoa loses both of these people. I hate to spoil that, but you really need to know it to understand what the composers are doing here. These little bits of themes from the first game are Klonoa's sorrow, and that first theme, played in reverse, represents Leorina's. There are even snippets from the theme of your companion, Lolo, who has her own burdens to bear. And that's what this place is, an embodiment of your sadness and loss, a reminder of everything that you want to forget. The music tells the story of this place and sets the tone for the last confrontation of the game. It's nothing short of impressive, especially for a game aimed at a younger audience. Man, the music to this game is so weird and experimental, and we didn't see the half of it. Selecting the pieces for this video was difficult, and there are so many other things I could talk about, like how there's an entire pop song with lyrics in the game's fictional language. Or some of the more standout themes, like the music for the Volk City levels or the Moonlight Museum. Yes, that is a girl laughing in the background track. No, I have no idea why she's there. From the spontaneous, joyful theme of Joilant to the melancholic kingdom of sorrow, these pieces can be so raw and bizarre that they only make sense in the context of a dream. For this reason, the Klonoa games have some of my favorite video game soundtracks. Their music is eclectic and weird, though never to the point of being too dark. It fits right in with that somewhat liminal vibe 3D games from the early 2000s had. Anyway, hope you all liked this video. Until the next dream, bye bye.